It's the 5th of March 2018. I'm David Jenkins and I'm here today at Leek Cricket Club with...
I'm Malcolm Tweats from Leek Cricket Club.
And I'm Brian Tatton.
Thank you very much indeed for the hospitality today, gentlemen. We're going to talk about Leek's involvement with the Derbyshire County Cricket Club in terms of hosting one-day games, and the first time that this happened was in 1986. And I'm just wondering what the club had to do to get involved in this. How did it happen in the first place?
Well, I think it was
yes,
Staffordshire Moorlands District Council who had got one or two cricketers on as councillors, and they were keen to get first-class cricket in the area, and they put up a sum of money to encourage Derbyshire to come out to outgrounds like this one, and Niblesley Cricket Club, I think Cheadle Cricket Club, and definitely Chackley, all of whom are in the Staffordshire Moorlands District Council area. And I think that's how it started. And I think the first one here at Leek was in 1986. I say that because I actually hadn't come back to the club. I didn't come back till 1990. So the first one or two would have been organised when I wasn't here. I assume it would be the same sort of operational requirements as when I did come back, and we hosted one in 1992, Derbyshire, Warwickshire in 1992, and I was involved in that. What a game of cricket that was, by the way, as well. Because Derbyshire looked like they're going to lose, and then somebody named John Morris decided, I think we can turn this game on its head, and that's exactly what he did. And really, it's always going to be to do with money, manpower and facilities. And I think in the early days, certainly for that one in 92, the club were providing a lot of manpower in terms of taking money on gates and showing people car parking spaces. Lucky to use Jim Heath's field at the back here to get people parked. And you contrast that with the last one in 2013, and that's Essex, because Essex have got a habit of coming to play here. In fact, Essex quite like playing here. Their skipper was saying to me, lovely coming here. By that time, in 2013, Derbyshire County Cricket Club are providing most of the manpower, certainly are for the gates and taking money, and even taking car parks money and so on, and providing stewarding around the ground. So to some extent for us, it is much easier then, and it leaves people like myself to concentrate on the ground. And Neil, the groundsman at Derby, really good to us, you know, bringing extra sheets over and so on, and sending manpower every now and then, not necessarily to work on the wicket. Neil always said, "You get on with this, you know your wicket's better."
So that's how it worked with the wicket.
Get on with it.
The Derbyshire people didn't come over here and...
No, you come and have a look.
It was your responsibility.
Yeah, he'd say, get on with it, you know what you're doing, you get on with it.
I think they're basically quite pleased with the state of the ground and the wicket itself.
So how did you choose the particular wicket to use?
The county wicket was, we always got, and then we're talking Staffordshire as well, was in Joe Cartledge's day was a third wicket up from the bottom, and in mine I moved that to being the fourth wicket up from the bottom. It's not central to the square, but it's fairly central to the ground. That was the thing. And also, don't ask me why, but the bottom 6 wickets on our square of 12 wickets are better than the top 6 wickets. I cannot explain that, it's just a fact. And so Derbyshire helped us with covering and so on, but on the day and in preparation, you get on with it. I might come up and have a look, say Neil, and he would. But in the main, we just cracked on with it. We've got a decent roller now, you know, proper white cricket roller, and you know, we have proper equipment for doing it. The only snag is we're none of us full time. But in leading up to Derbyshire games, certainly for me and a couple of other lads, you're tending to be full time because you're on and off with sheets and covers and so on, because you want to get a fairly dry wicket, don't you?
Yeah. So in terms of the more general facilities, presumably temporary toilets, extra catering. Did the club do that? Did Derbyshire do that?
No, Derbyshire do it. We might have to get them in, but in the end, like the 2013, Derbyshire should be ordering these, and they pay for them.
It was a totally different scene that Malcolm's talking about. Our very first one, I think we had to hire the outdoor toilets. We've got indoors and one round the back by the score box, the old score box. One inside, but it wasn't enough for the big crowd, so we had to hire those. But in my memory, those first matches with just Derbyshire and other people, it was mayhem. You know, we were up here at night sometimes. Joe Cartledge, Dave Cartledge, and one or two other people were on the wicket, rolling. Catering, people parking cars. We had to have 6 or 7 of us, marshalling cars to where only a certain amount could go all around the ground. Then, as Malcolm has said before, we had a car park behind on the field there, and also Leek Town. They gave us
football club.
The football club just at the bottom of the road there gave us facilities for parking cars, and there was cars everywhere. The police were here on the bottom of the drive and everything.
Yeah, because I look at this, and Derbyshire played Warwickshire in August.
Yeah.
If we had some of the games, you know, were May, and then the field next door, that's grass is this side for silage, so no parking there, so we had to make arrangements.
So it was
for
very,
Leek Town
very
Football
busy,
Club.
very busy indeed.
So it's not just the cricket club putting on the fixture, it has quite an impact on the town as well.
Oh, absolutely.
With signage up, we had to put
Yeah.
signage up, and
Yeah.
I've got proper things now. With the first ones, I had big sheets of board and put A523 cricket this way, like, you know.
And of course, the policemen up in the town were on duty because of the influx of people coming from the Buxton area and round there, and from Matlesfield area. There was policemen everywhere directing traffic, and there was, you know.
And on this road outside,
yes,
because
yes.
you can imagine, once people have turned up the drive, which is why we took money in front of the 2 houses now, in front of what was Highfield Hall.
Yeah.
Let them get up the drive and halfway along the top. You want as many cars as you can in the drive, otherwise they're blocking the main road.
Yeah.
So we had a policeman on
That's
duty
right.
there as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So it was an impact on the town itself.
Food was interesting because certainly of late, I wouldn't know so much about the early games because I can't remember what Linda was saying about that. But in the later games, they now send a diet sheet, don't they? This is what players eat. This very strictly. You're not now producing steak and kidney pie and chips or whatever like for lunch. They might have preferred that, but Derbyshire send us a diet sheet.
Yeah.
This is what they'd have.
This is what we want, yes.
And in the end, I think what we narrowed it down to is we had a caterer here
Yes.
who got that sheet, and that was a specification
Yeah.
for the food he got to supply. And then he was catering separately for officials of both counties who'd be here, and other people they were inviting in as long as they told us, and they would pay for that. And our ladies concentrated on feeding members of the public, didn't they?
That's
And making
right.
cups of tea and so on. So we'd have a couple of tents,
We had
small marquees.
Small marquees,
Yeah.
yes, with tables
Yeah.
in and
Yeah.
everything. So
And
it was quite.
It's an
quite-
occasion, you know.
Indeed.
It's a lot of work
Quite a
for
job.
some people
Quite
in the
a job.
club, but it's an occasion. It's
Yeah.
certainly an occasion in the town, and it's a pity for that reason.
Yes.
It isn't done now in a way, because you look at some of the photographs around here, and there was some, you know, there's quite a lot of people here, and it is, you know, it's a bit Heath Robinson. I give you an idea. We haven't got a press tent. We did have for one game, but the wind got up the night before and blew it away. So what are we going to do with the press? Because it's got to be fairly close to a power source and so on. And just out here, the covered way, the other side of the kitchen, now we said we'll put the press there, but it won't rain on
With
them.
Angus
or whatever.
Fraser out there.
And Angus Fraser was one of them.
Yeah.
And that was I think he was interested, as was Charles, I can't remember his other name, who was writing for either the Times or one of the big papers, because he was asking us about, he's saying, I see that end's called the Rudyard end. He'd asked what end, you know, which end, as you mentioned before, what end's that called? So that's the Rudyard end. And he went, Rudyard? Said, yeah, that village over there is called Rudyard. Happens to be, of course, how Rudyard Kipling got his name, because his parents met there. And oh gosh, he said. So that was in the paper, wasn't it? He got that. I didn't think he was going. Well, I didn't think about that at all. I just thought I'd mention it out. Is there a river down there? Yes, the River Churnick Valley. And so he was interested as well. So it was good to see him and Angus Fraser there. I thought it was brilliant to see them both there, and not in that great big pod press thing at Lord's, but out here where anybody could speak to them.
I know, walk past, yeah.
Yeah, I thought it was brilliant.
And I've just dug out something from Wisden Cricketers' Almanac Awards.
Oh, right.
So there was a game in 2010 when Derbyshire played Essex here as well. Derbyshire got 299 for 7, which at the time I think was their highest ever.
That was a fabulous score.
Totally.
Yeah.
They beat Essex, but there's reference to this event. It says tender scarter century in 59 balls, and the quote is tender scarter unleashed 5 4s and 8 6s, one hitting the roof of an occupied Portaloo to reach his 159 balls. So what you were saying about coming out to Leek and the other grounds, that then it's recorded there.
Yes.
In the Wisden.
That's good.
Well, there's another one, and I don't know whether that's recorded in Wisden. Well, let me just deal with this. That one. Derbyshire looked like winning that game. Anybody who was here on the day, Derbyshire got them 6 wickets down, and I can remember one or two lads rubbing the door besides rubbing around like and just shouting to each other, won't be long now, like, can we be? And then Tender Scorty came in and changed it with James Foster, the skipper. Yeah. Changed the whole thing, didn't he? He did. It was a super innings. And I've said to you earlier, Derbyshire have done that up here before. John Morris changed the game against Warwickshire. Absolutely turned it round. Kim Barnett was in with somebody, they were stuck, we were going nowhere, and John Morris came in and started launching the thing over the marquees on the lawn, and the game changed, and Kim Barnett picked the tempo up as well, and they won. It changed in 1 over, the off spinner, Asif Din, and Morris got hold of him as well and planted him in the pond down there, and it changed. Cricket can change like that, and often does, doesn't it? The other thing that might be recorded, and it wasn't that game, it was another game against Essex, because they've been here 2 or 3 times, when Graham Napier hit a 6, and I'm standing down there on the mid-wicket boundary, and it come over my head and over those pine trees there, and over the road, and into the field the other side. It was the most colossal hit I've ever seen. And we retrieved the ball a couple of days later, and Jonathan was measuring the thing out and Jonathan reckons it's first bounced at 150 yards. It smashed this thing miles, and we were lucky because the farmer had already silaged, so the grass was down, and we could find the thing. I've got it now. I've got the ball, and I do intend mounting it, and I do intend putting it behind the barn. I've got his figures and so on.
He's just retired, hasn't he?
Yeah. So that was another really memorable thing for people watching cricket up here.
Can I take you back also to another one-day games that Leek hosted for minor counties in the Benson and Hedges Cup in 1995? When I looked this up, there were 2 games that took place within 3 days in April.
There was one was Nottingham
at the beginning of that year. They played Nottinghamshire and they played Lancashire.
Yes.
I don't know if you recall that, but it seems to me that at that time of the season was quite a challenge for the club.
Yes. I can vaguely remember that, and we're running around like scalded cats, certainly. The same situation, refreshments, parking facilities, ground staff. It's all down to a fairly small club when we're expecting maybe 600 or 700 people to come, And the police are involved, of course. The police have to be notified. We have to set caterers up and everything like that. So yes, it's a big job.
I can't remember the Nottinghamshire game. What I think the situation was, I couldn't get off work that day, but I was off work for the Lancashire day.
Yeah.
And I tell you what I remember of that, Jack Simmons and so on,
Yeah.
walking around the ground.
Yeah.
But what I remember most was Derbyshire supply a whole series of advertising hoardings
Yes.
for which the boundary rope's just inside that. And we've been putting the boundary advertising hoardings up, and then down in that bottom corner, we've been carrying them around on the wheelbarrow, and we left the wheelbarrow on the pitch. It was actually inside the rope.
Yeah.
And I was telling you, Barry Wood was fielding down there, and he never mentioned it. So he's fielding by this wheelbarrow.
By the wheelbarrow, yeah.
He never mentioned it. I went down, I went, oh, and I think one of the umpires must have spotted it, shouted, come here a minute, and I said, I'll have to just move this off, like, he said, fine. And you know what he said to me? He said, it's such a change playing on an outfield like this, he said. We're usually on grounds that are as hard as concrete, even the outfields are like tarmac, and it doesn't half make your feet ache. He said, this is like having bedroom slippers on.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I said, well, I'll move that wheelbarrow now.
Yeah, and Barry Wood never mentioned it. No. He thought it was normal.
And again, something that I just looked up, the game against Lancashire, this Benson and Hedges minor counties against Lancashire. Minor counties were bowled out cheaply, but it lists in Wisden Lancashire debutant, first ever game for Lancashire in that, Andrew Flintoff.
Wow.
So he made his not first class debut,
No, but
his senior debut for Lancashire at Leek.
Wasn't the first time he'd been here, you know.
No,
he came with Lancashire twos.
That's right, he did.
To play against, that was Derbyshire twos, wasn't it?
I think it was,
Lancashire,
yeah.
Derbyshire twos,
Yeah.
to play here, and it was rained off. He never bowled the ball. Never bowled the ball. And he also played for Derbyshire twos at Cheadle Cricket Club, and I called there after work. I wish I'd have gone for the day now, but I called after work. Flint offered it over 100, you know, still only a young lad, and he did well over 100, and launching balls on the main road and so on. And then we were chasing, and as I pulled on the ground, Tim got out. Tim got out, and he just hit 100. But it was a good game, and they were in with a shout. But Flintoff played at Cheadle.
Yeah. Couldn't have been much age, could he then?
No, and the leg spinner, Australian lad, is the lad who used to play in and run and administer the Lancashire twos.
No, I can't remember him.
I can't.
Peter Sleep.
Peter Sleep, thank you.
That's
him.
That's
he
it,
ran it very good with the side.
What
Very
memory
good.
you've got.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, he was good with the side. That was a great game of cricket, that one was.
So finally, just to sort of wrap this up, I presume that as a cricket club you would, as I think we all would, welcome back Derbyshire or county matches, one-day games coming out to the clubs.
Yeah, I think we would. When 3-day games can be a bit of a bind at a club that doesn't have full-time staff and so on, and people have got to have holidays to come and help you and so on. But one-day games are so much better for us because we can cope with that.
Can cope.
If it's a one-day game, Staffordshire have played quite a few one-day games here recently, not so many 3-day games. But the facility is available to them, and it's available to Derbyshire as well, isn't it? So if they wanted to play, then
they could.
Then I'm sure, you know.
But the one-day games are better for all reasons, obvious reasons. It's the workload of people being still at work. I mean, I'm okay because I've retired, but a lot of people just can't get 3 days off. And that's the big problem.
And obviously, you know, sometimes like Derbyshire, I can imagine, you know, players saying, hang on a minute, you know, we're in a changing room where we're accessible to the public. We'd rather be at Derby, like, you know, where the facility's top class.
Well, thank you so much indeed for
Yeah,
that yet again.
enjoyed that.
It's been very good talking to you.
Yeah, and you too as well, David, yes.